Good morning. Welcome to this Unitarian Universalist Church, which includes our church here in Birmingham, our church in Tuscaloosa, and all of our folks online. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are today, and wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. To all who are here this morning, welcome home. The prelude prepares us for worship.
When there's clapping going on. Thank you. Some stories begin once upon a time or long, long ago, but other stories begin here now. Have a clear direction. Sometimes they don't always have a clear beginning. What they do have is possibility. These are stories still in the making, stories that have yet to be fully written, stories with the potential to create change for good or for ill. We don't know how the story ends until we get there, but we can decide what words we use to write those stories. Hope, kindness, gratitude, peace, courage, perseverance, joy, and love. Above all else, love. In the spirit of inclusivity and welcome, please greet one another, especially those you may not recognize. Folks in the chat, please make sure to greet each other as well.
as equal persons in the search for beauty and right. Where is your holy writ, where a human heart sacred torch of truth has lit by inspiration taught? Where is our Holy One? Mighty hosts respond. People rise in every land to break the captive's bond. Where is our holy land? Within the human soul. Wherever free minds truly seek with character the goal. Where is our paradise in adoration's sight? Where we hope to see a right 10,000 years of right.
Good morning again. The Environmental Justice Task Force in February decided that we were going to start issuing challenges to members of our faith community, just so that we all can see the real impact all changes can have on our environment. And some folks follow directions and put their names in the little cups, and so we have a prize for youth and
curious before we did trash this month.
That's more names.
How many of you actually put your name in the thing? Put your name in the thing. We have surprises. We want to reward y'all. Thank you for participating.
What do I do first?
Yeah. We'll start with the kids. Draw, 'cause
His crewmate, which is us. Was that you?
was it?
Oh, Rosie Weber.
Hey, Rosie.
And she is getting a 4-pack of stainless steel straws and a little cleaner. She can use it at home, or her parents can use it at home. That's for you for picking up trash. Thank you.
We're so proud of you.
Good job, Rosie.
Sam Hamilton. Do we have the thing?
Have today, we might need to go ahead and draw another name, because what we have is coffee and fresh eggs. Something else for Sam.
No. Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Let's try again. I drew my own name.
Or drew her own name.
I'll put it back.
No, I think you get it because you earned it.
I'll take that.
You pass
Oh.
the. You can leave
Yeah.
that for Sam.
Sam can have the coffee.
What are we doing in March again?
Oh, yeah. So we're going to continue the trash challenge one more month and pass. Actually keep a tally of each time you pick up trash, not like each piece of trash, that would, but just that you're picking up trash so we can actually have our full tally month to look at. So please put your at the
And by the way, one of her prizes was a dozen eggs, fresh eggs from the Mansell farm. So it's worth. Good morning. My name is Phil, and I'm a member of the board. And our church is supported by those who call our church home, and by those who support the efforts of our church to change our world for the better. If this is your first time with us, please pass the plate. We are just glad that you are here with us this morning. If this is not your first time, please fill out your pledge card today so the board can plan the budget for next year. We share our cash plate every Sunday with organizations whose work reflects UU values to care for marginalized persons, advocate for real and systemic change, defend our environment, and promote justice and equity for all. Today, we are sharing our plate with Bridge Ministries, a nonprofit organization founded in 1978 which works to prevent homelessness by providing direct emergency assistance to at-risk individuals and families in the Birmingham area. Donations from the faith community, foundations, individuals, and corporations give Bridge Ministries the capacity they need to access federal grants. Since 1978, Bridge has assisted over 25,000 very low-income individuals with direct emergency assistance for rent, utilities, temporary lodging, food, and case management services. Bridge Ministries is proud to serve area veterans, homeless families, and those on the brink of homelessness through their many community connections and resources. Bridge Ministries needs our help in this time of decreased federal dollars. Please give generously.
A better, smarter, more, and a better, smarter, more involved group of socially committed people to justice and environmental justice as well as social justice than you would right here. Last year, the Surgeon General said that our country was in a loneliness epidemic, and I think the best cure for loneliness is being in a group, and I think if you can find a better group than this one, you should join it, but I don't think you, I don't think you will. The other thing I wanted to say was that some of you may, most of you probably know this, but some of you may not, that the UUCB Constitution states that our proposed income and our proposed expenditure should be equal. In other words, we have a balanced budget each year as we go into the new year. So that is published in your stewardship package, and it's not a coincidence that the two figures are the same. So if you look at the only way we know what our income is going to be is through pledges. We don't know what our donations are going to be. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not so good, but we do know what our pledges are going to be. So that's the importance of pledging, because after the stewardship, the board is going to have to look at what our pledge total is and then look at the budget and start cutting if we need to cut, and that's not good. So the pledge forms are online. They're also in the ACE, I believe. Is that correct? And they're online, and they're also, if you remember, you probably got one sent to you in the email. So thank you, and your support will be very much appreciated.
Now is that time in our community when we join together in celebrating our joys and lifting up our sorrows. For those of you online, please place yours in the chat and hold one another in love. I look forward to reading those each week. For those of you in person today, you are now invited to come forward and drop a stone in honor or in memory of what is on your heart today. Please come forward. Today we have something huge to celebrate. Rocky Myers, who was on Alabama's death row, had his sentence commuted on Friday. It's nothing short of a miracle. For those of you who aren't aware of his story, Rocky is a black man who was convicted by an all-white jury of life without parole, and then the judge decided to tack on the death penalty, which is now thankfully illegal, but there was no evidence convicting him of this crime. So it is truly believed that he was innocent of this all along, and we are so grateful that he is no longer of that sentence. So thank you for all of those of you who were active and asked the governor to commute the sentence. Today we lift up Freeman, who is watching online this morning from his hospital bed. We hope you are recovering and home soon. We lift up Wanzetta, who is here with us this morning, recovering from her procedure, and Nancy and Ginger, who are still recovering from theirs. And we are so grateful to be here in the midst of community during these times. May we keep one another in our hearts and minds in the spirit of community and love. Please join me in the spirit of prayer and meditation, followed by a moment of silence. Spirit of life, love that calls us to love, care that calls us to care, presence that calls us into presence. We give thanks that we have been brought together in this beloved place, this holy sanctuary, this sacred harbor where we bring ourselves as we are, in times of sorrow, in times of joy, in times of confusion, in times of fear, in times of clarity, in times of quiet acceptance. In our efforts to pay closer attention to our inner lives, to each other and the world around us, may we notice the divine essence today, however this essence expresses itself to you. May we cultivate presence and awe while attuned to murmurs and shimmers within us and around us, whether it be the spark of a new idea, a vulnerable share from love, or unexpected warmth from someone we don't know. May we continue to attune to what Reverend Howard Thurman called the sound of the genuine within ourselves. May we become quiet enough and still enough to notice deep within us that lures us toward what matters most, this call that lures us toward freedom and purpose. We ask for guidance and space and time to do just that, so we can lead the lives we feel most called to live. Today we remember the people who have paid close attention to us in our lives. These people have loved us into being through the way they witnessed us, the way they attuned to us, both strengthened us and transformed us. There may only be one person we think of who has done this for us throughout our lives. We give thanks to them today. We say thank you for witnessing me. Thank you for paying close attention to the stories of my heart. We also someone who may want to be witnessed by us. Perhaps this is someone we haven't been able to make time for, someone we love who dearly wants our attention. May we find a way to say, I'm here with you. I'm paying close attention to the stirrings in your heart. May we continue to cultivate the practice of paying close attention so that more people feel lovingly held in a hurting world. May we meet this moment and all the moments ahead with spaciousness and presence. Deeply and lovingly witness the person in front of us, beside us, and within us. Let us take a moment of silence together. Amen. Blessed be. Will the children please come forward?
There's not a lot of room up here today, is there, Ezio? Good morning, friends. Good morning, friends out that direction. I may have more friends up here than are out there, actually. Holy cow. It's a little cozy up there today. So, hello, friends online. So, y'all ready for a conversation, storytelling? I'm going to need your help with this one. Y'all cool. You need to think about stuff. Do you ever remember the very first time that you went to, yeah, very first day? Do you remember the very first time you came to church here? Yeah. Have you ever had, some of it's been before you can remember? Do you remember maybe the first time going to a new scout group or club, or first time going somewhere, anywhere? Grown-ups, first time going anywhere, somewhere? So I remember, believe it or not, I do remember my very first day of school. It was a really long time ago. It was so very long. But I remember it. But I remember not knowing what I was supposed to do. Hold on one second, Ren, hold on. I have a question for you in just a second, I promise. And believe it or not, your parents and your parents can remember their first days too. Maybe. You'll have to check with them later. But, or maybe they remember the first time they started a new job or something like that. Yes, Ren. Uh-huh. Yeah. Your mom left you there and you cried on the first day of school? Yeah. You know, I cried when my mom and dad picked me up for my first day of school. I wanted to stay at school. The teacher wondered why, but I just liked school. I know. So, but when you go to these new places for the first time, you think, what am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to sit? Is this someone else's seat? Like when you're here today, were you like, oh no, am I in someone's special seat at church? When do we go outside to play? What time am I going to eat? When are my friends here? Where's the bathroom? You think of all of these things that first time you go somewhere, right? Thank goodness you know where the bathrooms are here, thankfully. We have them clearly marked, so. But, and then you're like, can I climb that tree over there? I'm supposed to be on that piece of playground equipment? What time do I go to music class? You have all these questions. And sometimes there's someone there, like maybe a teacher or some other grown-up helper, to help you figure out what you're supposed to do and shows you how things are supposed to work. And they tell you the rules. Do you like? No. I'm shocked and amazed that this group of children do not like rules. But, okay. But they tell us what we're expected to do and what we're not expected to not do, right? That kind of thing. So it's not really quite as scary. You know where the bathroom is. You know where you're supposed to sit. You know when you're going to go out. You know those things. But sometimes, though, like there's no grown-up teacher. Like when you're on the playground, the grown-ups aren't right there with you. You're playing. How do you decide what is right and wrong then, when it's just you and your friends? What do you do? Is this a legitimate answer that I can share with the grown-ups? You think for yourself, right? There we go. Good job editing that one. So you kind of talk to each other and you figure out what you want to do. Like say you're out on the playground and you decide all of the blue pieces of playground equipment are out and you don't want to touch them. That kind of a thing. That's true. Are they lava? I hadn't noticed. So the kids kind of come together and you agree. You kind of make a decision on how you're going to play together. Do you know what that might be called? Agreement, yeah. Did you know that you're making covenants with your friends every day when you do this? Covenants like we just do here at church sometimes. Amazing, wow. Thank you, Lily. So like in our class upstairs, we have covenants where we agree what we're going to do with each other. We don't tell each other what we're not going to do. We say things like, we're going to keep our hands to ourselves. We're going to use nice words, as opposed to saying what we're not supposed to do, right? Very nice, very nice. So little did you know that every day you are using your UU faith out in the real world, making covenants with your friends, sitting at the lunch table, play. You're using the things that you learn here at church out in the real world. Cool, huh? They're not as I am. Wow, amazing. Well, just so you know, we're teaching your children good life skills here at UUCB. There you go. All right, my friends, why don't we go outside and play and use those covenantal skills? Fantastic. Grown-ups, sing us downstairs.
It is difficult to believe that next week, next Sunday, will be my last sermon in this pulpit for 6 months. And y'all don't seem to be too nervous. I know you're grown, but you know, the most common response I get from y'all is a hand on the shoulder, and we can tell you really need a sabbatical. So I must look like I've been through the ringer. Yes. Well, I'm not sure whether it's a testimony to how great Reverend Ruth is, because she is, or whether I should be concerned that y'all are getting tired of me. But either way, you're scared, and I'll talk to you more about that next week, and we'll have some things for you. But today, I wanted to remind you of some of what you already have to empower you for the days ahead. So, most religions like to organize their major ideas in lists for some reason, right? We have the 4 Noble Truths of Buddhism. We have the 5 Pillars of Islam. We have our former 7 Principles, which we'll talk more about later. We have the 10 Commandments, which I have some feelings about in Alabama. And one of the stories in Universalism that you may not have heard before, depending on in a UU, is called the 5 Smooth Stones. How many of you have heard of the 5 smooth stones before? A handful. Okay, well good. We're going to learn something today. So, Reverend James Luther Adams, who is considered the most revered Unitarian Universalist theologian of the 20th century, wrote about these in his book, which is titled On Being Human Religiously. And so the 5 stones are this. The first is that religious liberalism depends on the principle that revelation is continuous. Our religious tradition is a living tradition because we are always learning new truths. We are never stuck in the sand. We are never saying we have to do it this way because we've always done it this way. We are always willing to try new ideas and figure out what is best for humanity. Revelation is continuous, is antithetical to most of what other religions are preaching about. This is one of the things that makes us so unique, is that we are willing to learn that new science, to incorporate new idea to think about different things. The second smooth stone is that all relations between persons ought ideally to rest on mutual free consent and not on coercion. We freely choose to enter into relationship with one another. Now, part of that comes into play by the fact that, we don't take attendance like other churches. And part of because if you miss church for a few weeks, you may not reach out because we want to appreciate that you just may not want to come. And, so finding that balance of like checking in on people versus not is one of the really confusing parts of our faith. We don't want anyone to feel coerced to be here or to be a part of things. The third smooth stone is that religious liberalism affirms the moral obligation to direct one toward the establishment of a just and loving community. It is this which makes the role of the prophet central and indispensable in liberalism. So that smooth stone is what we call justice. Do our justice. That's why we have a Justice Minute. That's why it's okay in our services to talk about the things going on in the world central to our faith structure. The fourth is that we deny the immaculate conception of virtue and affirm the necessity of social incarnation. This stone is what we call agency. Good things don't just happen. People make them happen. There are people all over this sanctuary who believe very different things on whether or not there are divine beings, whether there are participatory help in the world. We believe, no matter what you believe externally, it's still our hands that make things happen. We are still the work in the world. He says, liberalism resources and are available for the achievement of meaningful change, justify an attitude of ultimate hope. You already have everything you need to hope for the best in our world and in our lives. Now, the reference to the 5 smooth stones, does anyone know where that comes from? No? I bet you do want to bring it up. Do you remember the story, some of you, of David and Goliath? So, David is this smaller, more vulnerable person. He's a child in the story. He's unarmored, and he defeats the Goliath with 5 stones that he pulls out of the river. Goliath. Now, when we fight our battles today, justice, for inclusion, love, we do so with our 5 smooth stones. We're turning violence into conversation, knowing that our common humanity is what it is that gives us the strength to move forward. I hope the 5 smooth stones gives you some courage as you think about your resources in because of the rise of hate in the world today. Ever more important, we ourselves center our lives on love. This past summer, after decades of delay, our Unitarian Universalist Association voted to move our focus away from the principles, some of which may have brought you into this building, and to a newly updated list of values. But because we have to be people of numerical lists, it's still 7. And so I'm wondering, I'll call them the 7 values, I was a huge fan of our principles, and this was a difficult Our principles they were beautiful. But what I appreciate about our radically anti-creedal church says that we need to insist on our collective understanding every couple of decades to ensure we are not perpetuating centuries-old beliefs while ignoring modern relevance. We are a faith tradition that evolves over time. And finally, and this is because of my massively many plates spinning, but we finally have updated the back of your order of service. You want to pull that out. These are our Unitarian Universalist values and covenant. Now, this is the covenant that we as a church covenant with the other Unitarian Universalist churches all over the world, okay? This is not requiring that you believe any of this, so just let me point that out. If you're a member of this church and you flip it over, this is to as a member of the church, our covenant of right relations. This is how we are in church together, just like Courtney was talking about children of how do we come together in community when we believe a bunch of different things, right? So the back is what we're focusing on today. Our values are not trite, pithy sayings, but deep and values, which are essential for us to remember, practice, and nurture in our communities for the next era. Each of our values is so radical as you read them, we talk about them today. All of them are intentional targets of our current government. We're a little out there. I'm excited about it. So let's start with pluralism. Pluralism is the acknowledgement, and I'm not reading this, I'm just talking, so when the words don't line up with what you're reading, that's why. Pluralism is the acknowledgement that we are all sacred beings. We are diverse in experience and theology. And equity, our declaration that every person is inherently worthy and has the right to flourish with dignity, love, and compassion. And pluralism and equity have been hot topics over the last month, have they not? Yes. And I will say that a society will agree which humans are valued is one that is full of moral strife. And yet, both pluralism and equity are easy to cultivate in our own lives, treating the CEO and the janitor with the same respect, honoring the diversity of thought, nurturing relationships who look and are culturally different than we are, and practicing radical inclusion will keep compassion and empathy. We cultivate pluralism in our churches by nurturing affinity groups. We have UU Christians, we have UU Humanists, we have our pagan group, we have lots of affinity groups that focus on their belief structure a little bit more. Listen to other folks even when we don't agree. We cultivate empathy in our churches by leveling the playing field and by ensuring that we can all come to the table fully just as we are. The last 2 weeks, along with colleagues who have seen me on the news, I've been fighting against two bills, HB 231 and SB 166, bills in the Alabama legislature that are enforcing Christian prayer in schools. And the other one is requiring the 10 Commandments to be posted in schools. Now, the irony of the 10 Commandments is the 10 Commandments they have posted are not 10 commandments found in any part of guess what? There's multiple 10 commandments. Don't all say the same thing. And so the Alabama legislature decided of their own accord that they would just write their own 10 commandments. And as a person with multiple degrees in religion, that is not their job. So, both of these bills are antithetical to our values of pluralism. Equitable because underrepresented religious groups do not have the same opportunities to do these things. Our public schools should be secular communities where all are treated equitably, where students are able to express themselves. If folks need more religious instruction for their children, they should ask for that from their churches. And just remember, when I go on sabbatical, that I may still be doing some of that, because I have 2 children in the public school. And yes, we are preparing for the full breadth of what that may become. Generosity, our value promoting gratitude and hope, is one not shared by most billionaires and many politicians. Watching as the world's richest man perpetuates starvation of the world's children has grieved my soul. But ultimately, it's going to take the revocation of WIC and funds for Americans to care. There are absolutely enough resources to feed the world. And we will need to rely on our networks of mutuality in the coming months, our spheres of influence, to make sure everyone that we can help can be fed. Cultivate generosity in our church through the stewardship campaign that Paul was talking about earlier, and also through our volunteer opportunities. And having the generous spirit to welcome new folks into our community. There are folks who, over the next 6 months, are going to come through those doors, and it's up to you to help connect them and plug them in and feel at home. We were filled to the brim with justice work even before January, with our faith-affirming work with reproductive rights, equity, queerness, and disability rights, watching the protections of military service members, our veterans, our disabled community, and our children be stripped to the core from decades-long battles against oppression is a lot unravel over the past month, hasn't there? One of our regular attendees to our church here in Birmingham joins us every week, and he is Canadian. And he reached out to me after listening to my sermons about this, just appalled. He said, in Canada, you know, there's the left, and they have their arguments and their disagreements about policy and how the government should work. But people's individual rights to body autonomy, sexuality, and health care are untouchable subjects for any politician because they are seen as inalienable human rights. Imagine what we could do if that was the case here. We are not free, we are all free. Our work continues, and our influence to advocate for the voiceless. We cultivate justice work in our community by working alongside other organizations and by marching, calling, writing, advocating for others. There's 2 upcoming legislative days with Faith in Action and Alabama Arise, and to join one of those and be a part of what it means to advocate for our values at the state capitol. We need representation at the table, and we need representation from all identities to be a part of these groups. our value of transformation, reminds us that we adapt to the changing world. And adapting to the world does not mean that we passively accept all that may come. It means we need to look at our strategies, our capacity, and adapt to how we are going to pursue our dreams for a more just world. And that work starts within our congregations to ensure we are living out our values inwardly. During an interview this week, I described our process here as the relationship model of transformation. Look around the room at the people here. Take a minute, look. Getting to know one another and learning from one another is one method of transformation in communities. How many of you have been transformed and learned something, or been comforted, or laughed with someone here at this church? A lot of you, yes. Finally, we are a people of interdependence, as Kylie and Laura were pointing out earlier, recognizing that the bond between our earth and all humans is one forged in love. And among the progressives that I see on Facebook, this is the we forget most quickly. We hold purity standards for other progressives. We argue about who is the most woke. And most dangerously, we sometimes believe that beloved community only means people like us. People of interdependence and love. We recognize that our quest for children with full stomachs, for health care, for sustainable practices, for ethically sourced employment, all people deserve these things. Even people who are different than we are, people who voted differently than we did. We cultivate interdependence at church by realizing that our staff, our stuff, our church calendar are shared resources. And we need to care for our resources both inside the building and outside the building. You are prepared for the days ahead. And if you don't feel that, you are surrounded by people here who have worked and succeeded at enacting change in their times. We are one of the most educated groups in the country. That's not a coincidence. Our tradition descends from Harvard, from our United States forefathers, many of whom were Unitarians, transcendentalist ancestors who hosted Enlightenment-esque salons in early America. We literally have the outline for the next 4 years in print. There is a website that actually tracks how they are starting to check everything on Project 25. And we can work to dismantle those things bit by bit. We need to get histories of what has been dismantled so we will know what needs to be rebuilt in hopefully 4 years. We need to partner with like-hearted organizations who have been doing the hard work and not recreate the wheel. As a colleague preached yesterday, we Universalists have been practicing to do this work for a long time. We need to remember that we have been preparing for this for a long time. This is nothing new to us. We have always been advocating for others. If you're just now joining us, you're with people who know how to fight the good fight. You're with people who were a part of the marches, who crossed the Selma Bridge the first time it happened. Our centered, important to us, is essential. Our liberalism is a network of mutuality where we can show up and make change when we are all focused on the same prize. We affirm the beauty and goodness of pluralism, equity, and transformation, the power of generosity, the network of interdependence, the call to justice. And we do it with love, for love, and in love. Gather the conviction of our 5 smooth stones. Remember our 7 values. These are not our dogma. You don't have to choose all of them. But these are arrows in our quiver for the day ahead. Our values are already challenged in courtrooms, press rooms, and boardrooms all over the country. Let us hold fast on what matters to us. May we go forth today, remembering who we are individually and collectively, and sharing our love with one another, beacon through the fog in the days ahead.
Please rise and body your spirit for our closing song, number 170 in the hardcover hymnal. If you would like this morning, please come forward during the closing hymn to sign our book.
Please be seated. Come on over. Come on. Excited to welcome 4 new members here this morning. Yes. Would you please introduce yourselves and tell us why you joined our church and what brought you here?
I'm Will. This is Carly. We've been coming here for a few months, and a lot of people up here have talked about community today. And we had a great example of that yesterday that kind of inspired what was us doing this today. We the parents group basically since we started coming, and you go.
When we were at parents group in the park yesterday, we had a lady approach us if we were a group of queer parents, which she said, "You guys give off a vibe," and we were. So it was a nice way of exhibiting the value. We were recognized just out in public, that she recognized in us something that she could connect with. So.
I'm Brandy Lucas, and I've been coming here for about 7, 8 months, and this is where I have found a home in my community.
About 2 months ago. I'm really bad with time, but it just, I don't know, it feels very safe and comforting, and yeah.
We already talked about the covenant that you are signing to this morning. Do you agree to this covenant and to support your church in all the ways that you can? And church, will you help me in welcoming these new members and help connect them to the life and rhythm of our community? Meet me out. Let's give them another hand.
Visitors, friends, and members, please fill out your connect card each week. They're dated. We can't reuse them. And be sure to look at the box at the bottom. Things going on, and those more ways to connect outside of our Sunday morning service. This Saturday evening, March 8th, is our stewardship dinner. We need folks to help set up, but especially to be here and attend and eat some delicious desserts. Food. Please sign up on the sign up in the narthex or using the QR code. It's early. We need everybody to know UUCB Summer Day Camp sign up is now up for our children to register. So Courtney, timing is appropriate, can plan appropriately. Next Sunday is Reverend Julie's last Sunday before her sabbatical begins. It is the 60th anniversary of the Selma Bridge crossing. And folks who are attending that, please take note of the agenda because they have moved the time. So it now starts earlier in the day. For folks not next week, we are meeting after the service at the McWayne Science Center to see their Sacred Spaces exhibit on the card. If you want to go see the exhibit, please mark it, and we will try to get everyone together for lunch before, so we're just a big crowd moving across the city. March 14th at 6 p.m., we will be breaking the fast with the Birmingham Islamic Society in Hoover. Please sign up to join for this conversation connection with our Muslim neighbors. Use your connection card to sign up. I have a on our transportation fund, SB 11. The bill is up for the Senate Fund Taxation and Finance Committee. It has been changed so that the funds raised go directly to these. The hearing is Wednesday at 11, so please contact your state senators. There's more info at alabamaact.org. Don't forget to pick up your March newsletter. It's in the back. There's pictures. There's things to do. There's a calendar to hang on your fridge. I have several special announcements. Looks like Courtney's up here.
Kylie's really good. She read my mind. I just wanted to just say a quick thank you to those who came out yesterday for the cleanup. Specifically wanted to lift up Deborah Gross and Tracy Cron. Just absolutely downstairs in the cleanup space. Yay. But I also really wanted to lift up Barbara Kohler. Where are you, Barbara? Barbara and Phil Vanderkamp, because they cleaned up that crazy closet and it's actually functional. So just, and, oh wait, and Bob did a lot of work outside and found so many. Oh, Phil. I thought I said Phil. Phil and Barbara cleaned the closet. But thank you to those folks. That's it.
All right, Layla.
Hey friends, it's me again. I'm Leela. We're doing an adult group after church. It's a great way to connect with other young adults. I've had a lot of questions of like range, and honestly, like 80, 90, 40. Like it's a great, vast majority of people. So come join us. We find common ground and bond, and it's a great way to connect after church. Today we're in the library and doing some extra crafts and stuff, so it's fun. Come see us.
All right, one of many more, actually.
Sorry, two here, but there's a March for Science this Friday, March 7th at 12 o'clock. I won't go into details following the things that are happening at NIH. It's just devastating, and even if you're not a scientist, if these policies blocked a lot of the things, but if they go through, this is going to hamper the Alabama economy. So these people on the right who are so concerned about the economy, this is just not a priority for them, obviously. So if you're so inclined, come to the march on Friday. Railroad Park at 12 o'clock.
Farah.
Good morning. My name is Farah Tatum, and I want to talk to you about cups for just a second. I missed the deadline to get our stuff in the order of service. I'm just going to tell you about a couple of things that are coming up like now. So, Esbit and Astara together, 15th, and then May Day is coming. You all remember May Day? Yeah? Who remembers May Day? Yeah? Yeah? It's amazing. It is going to be on April 27th, the last Sunday in April, because May Day's on a Wednesday, okay? We'll have a maypole, we'll have games for the kids, we'll have a silent auction. I love it because you guys get real competitive. It's pretty fabulous. If you have things laying around that you'd like to donate, you can see me or Heather. I don't think she's back there. Heather or Grant or anybody that you know cups, really, okay? The other thing I wanted to tell you was CUPS is Covenant for Unitarian Universalists. And if you haven't gone to the website, please go to the website, cups.org, and click on chapters, and then click on Alabama. We're there, the only chapter in Alabama. Some photos of our events are there, and also all over. They've used our photos. It's pretty fantastic. Thanks for your support. And if you know anybody who is pagan, or even if they're still in the broom closet, that's okay. We have a forward-facing page that they can like on the Facebook. We have a private group where they are completely safe. You can just send them my direction. You can give them my name, phone number, whatever you want to. Awesome. Have a great day.
Holly? Oh, thank you. Marianne, did you have one? Okay. Oh, come on up. Sorry, it just says Holly.
I'm Mary House Kessler. I am a member of the Stewardship Committee, and I know you've been hearing about stewardship over and over, but our fun time about stewardship is the dinner, and it is this Saturday at 6 o'clock here. We have a great time when we come, and you can sign up either by the QR code that I think is in the, you can sign up back there in the narthex, which is even better because then you can choose what you want to have, because we have great cooks and several of them have volunteered to make for. So it will be catered, but the desserts will be catered by our volunteers. And so you can sign up for whatever dessert you prefer. Please, it'll be a fun time.
Last name I have says Anthony with a question mark next to it. So we're going to go with the question mark. Okay. In honor of our ancestors, carry the flame forward as we extinguish the chalice. As we extinguish this challenge flame, may the warmth of its light remain within us, guiding our steps and our hearts. Let us carry forward the strength of this community, courage to speak truth, and the hope that transformation is possible. In each breath we take, may we remember that the work of love, justice, and healing is ours to continue, both here and beyond our walls, with the light of this gathering to illuminate your way.